What in the world made you think I am going to build my own AI model from scratch?
That journey actually made me realize that when you have something good, people want to get it from you. And sometimes those are good people, and those sometimes those are bad people.
What was going in your mind at that moment?
To protect it at all cost. But the people who understand the money, they are always hard to handle.
What is the value of that technology that you have completed till now?
That was 2019. I was having a dropout during the period of 2016 to 2019. According to me, is worth 3 to 5 million dollars. But in 2021, I had some different inspirations. So the whole game changed after that.
Your underworld secret is
Dropping out of college.
why is that? Tell me more. Yes, we are here with Harsh Kumar, founder and CEO of Incupie. So, Harsh, what is on your mind right now?
Let's do the
Awesome,
podcast.
straight to the point. I like that. So, let's start with this. What in the world made you think I am going to build my own AI model from scratch?
Actually, nothing. Actually, nothing. I was lonely as hell, and I just wanted to create something like so that I can talk with few stuff. And later on, it became like with time, it became better and better.
Is there any specific side of story that you want to share that lead to the birth of this?
That was 2019. I was having a dropout, and at that moment, I was in verge of my career where I was actually working with some people, some other startup, and I wanted to start a pet project in my free time, and that's how it eventually I began. For like 1.5 year, I did a very general stuff. I was inspired by the BERT model, which led to the evolution of transformers later on. But in 2021, I had some different inspirations. So the whole game changed after that.
Okay, I am really curious about this thing about you. How did you get into entrepreneurship? Was it something you always wanted to do, or did something happen that pushed you toward it?
I never wanted to be in entrepreneurship actually. It just happened like I like to create stuff since the very beginning. And the first time when I created a data compression algorithm, that was like late 2016. So I knew that I have some created something good and I can transform it into a product. So I wanted to make a very little business upon it, but I had no idea how to make a business. At that moment, like for next 2.5 years, I was just a learner. But that journey actually made me realize that when you have something good, people want to get it from you. And sometimes those are good people, and those sometimes those are bad people. So when I saw that a lot of people are actually taking interest in it, I just went to some mentors, and slowly one by one I started figuring out all the pieces of the puzzle.
Hmm. Well, when you said that some people wanted to take away from you, let's pause at that moment. That is very deep. So, what was this feeling when you figured out you had something that people wanted to take away from you? What was going in your mind at that moment?
To protect it at all cost.
Was it that dangerous to protect?
Sometimes, sometimes it was like, uh, there are people who understand the potential and they like the fame, and there are people who understand the money. So the people who are after fame, they are actually never like those people are never hard to handle. But the people who understand the money, they are always hard to handle.
That's a deep quote. So, when you started your journey, you had no idea that you are going to start your business. Oh, then, what was the turning point that made you a businessman?
Okay, so it was not a turning point. It was a whole long
Uh,
journey, like more than 2.5 to 3 years. That journey slowly transformed me into a business person. Even right now, I don't like to do business. I like to create stuff. But business is something which keeps the factory running. So ultimately, we cannot skip it. But like in the beginning when I started, even like people like the head of the department of my college, like the computer science department, I went to that person. I will not take his name today, but I went to this person, and this guy showed me a IEEE paper. And this guy was like, you are in first year of your college, and nobody will believe that you have created something like this. Although it was not very extraordinary thing, I was just achieving data compression there. Although it was lossless, but not very high, like I am doing these days. But it was something different, a different technique I came across. So this guy showed me a paper. He was like, you write this down in this format. Don't worry about the details. I will fill in the details. In the top, I will put my name, and in the assistant, I will put your name. And immediately my answer was, sir, like immediately the next moment I was like, sir, after 4 years, I will have a degree. So after 4 years, I will give it my name. But I will not give it your name. And that guy was literally pissed by that answer. Like that guy made me uh, walk around him almost for 23 days. So I just asked this guy for some mentorship, like guide me that how I can create a business. But instead of that, sometimes he was like, come meet me at this time in the meeting room, come meet me at this time at this place. And whenever I went there, he was not there. He was just making me run here and there all the time. And one day I was just sitting about it, like I was just sitting and thinking about the whole scenario that what's happening. And one of my friend, Sandeep, he came and he was like, let's talk with the main person. And from there, I can say it was my turning point, because that day I learned a very crucial lesson that always talk to the main person.
exactly. Okay. Let's keep the gatekeeper side and let's go a little bit deeper. So, when that professor asked you to take the credit all on himself, I don't think he really knew the value what you built at that time. So, just for a side note, what is the value of that technology that you have completed till now?
Well, if I am talking about the technology I have created during the period of 2016 to 2019, then that technology, according to me, is worth $3 to $5 million. But today, the kind of work I am doing upon the same technology, it have evolved so much that I will never sell it.
So, I'm guessing you handle a lot of complex client projects. So, I want to know how do you actually approach them and build out the tech, especially when other big firms could not pull it off? And what do you do differently internally as a company and as a service provider that make these tough projects possible to finish for your clients?
When I initially started in my career, I started as a freelancer there. But after just couple of projects, I knew that this is something not for me. Like that comes with a lot of uncertainty, and I wanted something stable. So after my second project, when I started that in 2016, I left it. And it's better to like focus your entire attention upon one single thing when you are actually building something. So I started my full time journey there. Like I was giving my 100%. I was even skipping colleges, all the classes, all the time. Like my attendance was roughly 42% in the second year. But the thing is, I soon realized that money is required. Even if you are trying to build your own operation, you have to be able to fund yourself. So as I started taking clients, IT clients, and I am still doing it till now. But I took some clients where I saw that I am able to solve some problems for them that other developers are not. And how I placed myself, like the position I took there is like, I am good with this kind of data, I am good with analysis. So even if you have something custom which is not commonly available in the market, I am willing to put that amount of research in your project so that we can make it possible. Instead of offering my clients initially that I will create this website or app for you, I will be like, I will be a shadow CTO for you. So that's how I started. Later on, I started approaching companies. I started in Bhubaneswar with some local uh, broadband services, and started giving them my product, like, which is data compression there. And then I realized that the best way to actually make some capital, not very high, but some capital, is to get tenders. Because all the corporates, all the media, like every corporate, media houses, government entities, they all issue tenders. Although these days it's much more easy thanks to like Gem portal, but at that time there was that was not easy to easy at all to get. But even when we are targeting, like in the market, if we are targeting a tender around 5 to 20 lakhs rupee, which is 500,000 to 2 million rupee. So that particular amount doesn't contain much traffic. So if you can become the person who can do the lowest bid there, you are definitely gonna win. So obviously, and from there, the actual part of efficiency actually unlocked. So if you want to be the L1, you have to be efficient so that you can offer lower price than your competitors. The whole market works like that. So if you are efficient and if you know how to do your job, and if you have a unique value proposition which your other competitors are not offering, then obviously in the game the client is gonna choose you.
That's very impressive. And coming from your experience, other business owners can also take so many learnings from this podcast. Now, talking about this, what was the challenges that you came up to when starting approaching these big tenders and big client projects?
The challenges is that already the big players are all have their seats there, and those seats are not occupied very recently but for generations. And we are talking about like last 40 50 years they are continuously getting the tenders. Although the new projects which are coming, it's not giving higher competition, but I have seen that people usually uh, see these tenders, like the people even filing these tenders are perceiving this as money cow. So they don't actually want to treat the actual job as a as like responsibly. It's like they are if suppose if they are getting 100 rupee tender, they are roughly spending 1 or 2 rupee upon the entire project, and the rest goes into their own pockets. And when you try to compete with those people, they will not try, like they will not treat you in a good way, because eventually if you are getting those tenders, you are taking their, according to like, this is how I create like their family income
Oh,
away from them.
like you have hit such an interesting point here. Is like when a new company starts a business and it's like a new fish in the pond in between such big sharks. So how did you manage that part?
I was never able to manage it. Later on, there were few people in my journey. They became my friends. They were good at managing it, and that's how I tackled the whole scenario. But later in 2000, after like later 2019, I also left that zone because I understood it is something not for me. And the people who actually understand the thing, I need to actually operate those people. I don't need to like do everything on my own.
Mm, awesome. So would you like to share one of your underworld secrets, like an underrated tool or habit that's been a total game changer for you Maybe something most people don't even know about.
Yeah, it's lack of sleep. I, it's lack of sleep. It's like if I decide to do something, I take it on perfection level, and sometimes it takes time. But there is a term we use for people like me in the industry. We call us heavy ballers. Now, what is a heavy baller? Now, heavy baller is a person who spends 3 to 4 years at least upon a single idea, single project, and there is no guarantee that that project is gonna make you returns. But we still spend that time on that project. Okay, and we know that after we spend this much time on that particular idea, we know for sure that this
Hmm.
idea have a very high potential, which can actually differentiate. Like you, either you can work on very small projects and diversify your time, or either you can work on your big idea. It's a very simple selection. So for me, I can say that the sleepless nights, patience, those are the key secrets, and this is something which is common with every human. All we have to do is to analyze that how much patience level we have, and we have to know that what game we are playing.
Hmm.
When I said what game we are playing, it means to actually understand the game. Many people who do something actually don't understand that how those things works. They are not clear on the fundamentals. Even with developers, like development is something which is very fundamental. But I have, like, even in this AI boom, I see people who actually don't understand the fundamental. And I'm not against vibe coding, by the way, but I am against that. If you don't understand the basics, the fundamentals, you should not touch it, because you are actually touching very mediocre thing in that scenario. Like, you are not giving your 100% your best. You are being mediocre at your job if you don't understand the game.
That is very correct. So the people who are doing the vibe coding, and if they do not understand how it's already happening behind the scenes, means they should not do it. Is that what you're saying?
Not just vibe coding, with everything. If even if you are a trader, even if you are a businessman, even if you are inventing something, if you don't understand that what game you are playing, and then in that scenario you are actually not giving your 100% to the game. You are being mediocre. You will eventually end up copying
Let's
people.
talk about vibe coders. They are becoming a trend these days in the development industry. So, according to this statement, they should not vibe code if they do not understand these things properly that go back and forth. What can be the consequences for them that they may be ignoring or are not aware of?
You will not be able to actually get very high value clients. And if you are getting high value clients, you are definitely lying to your clients. And there is a very solid reason behind it. Since you don't understand the fundamentals, AI is generating some code for you. Now, first we have to understand from where that AI learned that code. So it learned from open source data. It learned from open source data sets, which is like GitHub and everything. And if you see those repos there, most of those repos are to-do list. Projects like simple to-do list, repeatedly uploaded. Like, I have seen many people uploading basically the same code upon their own GitHub profile, and they are just creating their job. So if you see the quality work there, the quality work is very less and the mediocre work is very high. And hence that data set becomes very mediocre. So AI is not gonna give you a better code unless until it understands the code. It only understands those patterns. So it is not giving you a solid code which is optimized, or you will be able to optimize. It is a very mediocre system which it has generated. It might work, but it's fragile. A experienced person who actually understand that how what is happening there will be able to find a lot of bugs and take down your system. And if you are eventually handling, like, even let's suppose 20 $30,000 of your client. Not, I'm not going into millions, but even if you are handling $20 $30,000, that money means something to the person who is actually investing it. In that way, that person is not getting the value that person deserves. But you, if you understand the game, that okay, how this thing should happen, you know the steps. Now you can break down those steps and make it happen with the AI. You can speed up your game with AI. But if you are planning to develop everything with just one prompt, then right now you have to wait for,
Well, a side question. Are you building something like this?
maybe I can neither confirm
Awesome.
or deny it.
So let's just to summarize. Your underworld secret is lack of sleep and more patience, right? And another thing is vibe coders are risking the quality of the projects and maybe lying to their clients because the reason is the AI learns from the patterns from these websites where they're like projects like to-do lists, and because of that sometimes it can become very chaotic, and if you do not understand it properly you cannot fix it, and at that time you and your client are in a very tough point and relationship. So to not let that happen, guys, please understand what you are building and then use AI to speed up your process, not to just completely hand over it to the AI in the name of vibe code. All right. So let's move to the next question. What do you think is overhyped in the AI industry right now? Is it AGI? And why do you think that kind of hype is actually hurting the AI world instead of helping it?
Well, it's like, I have a philosophy that it there is no good or bad people or companies. There are propagandas. Okay, and those propagandas are fueled by agendas created by those individual or a company. Okay, and right now the AI market is promising something which is mathematically and technically impossible, and that thing is AGI. Like, I believe that AGI is completely possible. ASI is also possible, but through LLMs, I don't think so, because LLMs have a limit. Okay, and that limit can only be overcome like once we achieve better quality data. So, you know, many people say that we need more compute, but technically it's a brute force. My philosophy is we don't need more compute, we need better way to manage data or shuffle data. Because if you know that how you can manage it properly, then obviously the output you get from that particular data automatically becomes better. But the simple let's take a very simple scenario right now. Suppose Bitcoin. Let's not talk about AI, just a little bit about Bitcoin. Let's suppose if Bitcoin falls, like suppose somebody does a very big fraud, like we have seen a lot of fraud in crypto industry. Okay, so somebody takes like 3 billion or $4 billion out of Bitcoin market or crypto market. What will happen? If the name of Bitcoin will drop, the price of Bitcoin will drop, all other cryptos, they will
Yeah.
follow. Now, some big companies, I will not take the name, in the same way in the AI industry, some big companies are on that level. They are the trendsetters. Just like Bitcoin is the trendsetter in crypto, those AI companies are the trendsetter. If they release something, they basically, if they are promising something, they are releasing something, everybody is listening. So that becomes the new trend. If they release a product, everybody tries to get on that product. But these companies are also promising us AGI for years. And all the time when they release something, we see another LLM, which is obviously bigger, better, consumes more compute. But eventually it's doing the same thing like the last LLM was doing. There is nothing special there. So why? And the simple thing is, if they promise something which is not achievable by the method they are actually presenting in the public, then it actually damages the real companies, because if they fall because of
Mm.
a false promise, all the companies who are actually following that trend, or basically the entire market, it it becomes a risk for even the smaller and genuine companies. I'm not saying that all the companies are genuine, but some of them are definitely. It basically kills some good research out of the market. And that's how, like, I believe it's going that just like if those companies do something which is fishy, and they are just creating the hype to get more investment from the investors, it is not good for the ecosystem, because in my point of view it is just a bubble, and bubble, even no matter how uh, whatever soap you will use, or like the soda or
Is going to
soap you use, the bubbles are meant to burst.
yes. Well, that is a very concerning thing that you shared about, and I think most people will understand this if you listen to this very carefully. That if you are a big company and you are claiming something, and it comes out to be a false promise, then other genuine companies who may be trying something better, they also get punished because of that company, because that narrative is set all over the industry, just like Harsh of the Bitcoin. So let's move to the next question. Yeah, you want to say something?
Like, let's take example, na, right? Like right now, the companies which are actually operating from US, they have big investment, they have enough resources to actually fund their operations, and they are investing, flooding the market with different ideas, different products very quickly. But when it comes to India, so in India, we have seen projects which are very cost effective, and they are actually achieving, like, in just cost of one rocket, we are sending, like ISRO is sending
Yes,
rockets to Mars, and that's the cheapest like the cheapest operation ever happened in the human history. So when you have less money, obviously you try to achieve your goals with that, because that's eventually
it's being
entrepreneur mindset.
resourceful.
It's not about how much. And being resourceful, it's not like you have a lot of resources and lot of money. It's like how you have limited resources, but how well you are managing
Yes.
those resources. And when you have less, then you are actually very aware of it, and that awareness is something which a big company can never achieve. But let me give you an example. Like, suppose a company like DeepSeek comes into the market with a open source model, and it crashes the entire market like 20%. So people have to understand that these billion and trillions of dollars are just evaluation, which can fall according to the demand or supply in the market. And that is why these big companies actually don't want the smaller companies to actually rise, because these smaller companies are able to actually deliver the similar stuff they are doing at a fraction of cost they are spending.
So what are you passionate about these days?
These days I'm passionate. I'm The thing is, my core competency is not in AI. My core competency was always data compression. But now, what are AI models eventually? So you take the entire data from the internet or anywhere you like, and you compress it down into a model in form of parameters. This is how I see a model. Okay. And you decompress the data according to the demand, according to the tokens you generate. This is the very simple operations happening there. But there are a lot of other methods which are like forbidden. Like, people talk about reasoning models, thinking model, but what about chain of thoughts? What about actions? So these things I'm actually passionate about. This is something which cannot be just achieved by data, but it also depends on your technique, because Right now, transformer is fueling the industry, but there are other architectures like state space sequence models, triple SMs, and these models are basically 4 times efficient to train and 4 times efficient to actually run on a system. So then transformers, which is like most of the LLMs right now. Now there are projects like reinforcement learning. So there is a project, open source project called QWQ, and that is a 32 billion parameter model, eventually giving the same result like deep 667 like 671 billion parameter model. So even in lower parameters, we can definitely achieve higher accuracy. So my goal is very simple, to achieve accuracy in limited, like lower resources. So that is what I want to focus on, also known as edge computing.
Awesome. What's your honest take on the big AI players, right? Okay, folks like Sam Altman with OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and even Elon Musk. They are doing amazing things with XAI and Grok. What is your honest take on them? Your opinions?
Well, these are the folks who are actually in this industry for a very long time. Like Elon Musk is there for 1990s. It's a very long term game they are playing. So for other people's, it's the game for them is different. They cannot eventually allocate their entire time to invent. That's why they have people. But even for a smaller players, if you are actually inventing, like right now in the market, if you're a small player, you have the edge to actually turn around, because bigger companies have a reputation to maintain and you don't smaller companies don't have a reputation at all. So you are able to basically turn your direction into any possible way you find good. And that is what I think about that. Bigger companies, they derive masses like muscle power to the market, and the smaller companies, they derive technique.
All right. So, what was the biggest risk that you took in your life?
Dropping out of college.
Why is that? Tell me more.
Well, it eventually, for me at that time, it was not a risk actually. But people say that having a degree definitely gives you a security. But according to me, if you know how you do your job, how to execute that thing, and if you know that how much better you are, then it eventually becomes a matter of time that you are gonna achieve the goals you wanna achieve in the market.
On point.
But the risk was very simple, that I was at that moment, the deals I was making was not 100% clear. If they would have not happened, then dropping out would have costed me a fortune in terms of both career and money. But eventually, those few things worked out. So,
I think at that time you have also thought of what if the deals will not happen? Then what you have said to yourself in order to convince yourself to anyways take the risk? What was that?
honestly speaking, at that moment, that thought didn't came into my head. That thought came into my head
Oh my
after two
god.
years of, yeah.
So you were
At that moment,
completely
it was
unaware of
exciting.
that thing. So what
Yeah.
was you mostly thinking about at that time?
I was thinking about that. Let's make this thing happen. Let's optimize the code. Uh, let's gift wrap it.
So it's all about you were so obsessed about your product that you was not caring about anything else. That's very impressive.
If you are actually obsessed about, really obsessed, like if you are actually obsessed about something, then you don't care. That care will never come in your head, no matter what, because you become a risk taker after that. A risk taker is not a person who is risking money. Money is easy to risk. A risk taker takes a lot of other kind of risk, a risk of life, a risk of dignity, a risk of like suppose if in the Indian society, if you do something, People know about it, and if it eventually don't work, you are basically living among a lot of people whom they know you, and eventually they remind you that you are a failure. But if you do something, they are the same people. They will say, "Oh, I knew you. This guy will do something in his life." Okay, same person, but two different statement in two different scenarios. So what people say, it actually doesn't matter, but it affects the people you love. Maybe you are you can be mentally strong, that you can avoid those people, because the thing is, there is no such thing as failure. If you are consistent, maybe you will fail at one thing, but if you're consistent, it's not a failure, it's a learning for you. And then you can start another thing. And that is something our generation have. We know how to take risks. The older generation and the common people who are basically eventually running after jobs, they don't understand this because they don't have the capacity. They have never seen these things in their lives. They don't know the possibilities. So, a actual explorer, a actual risk taker takes a lot of risk. It's not just money or it's not just career. It's the person's entire existence at a
Yes.
stake.
Guys, obsession comes first and then you take risks. Awesome. Without even knowing about it, that you're taking a risk. That was a really inspiring conversation here. I believe a lot of you can take a lot of learning lessons from here. That's the goal of this podcast show. Okay, let's come to the final rebuild round, which is the theme of our podcast show. If you lost everything tomorrow, what is the very first thing you will do?
When I will call some of my contacts,
If
some
you
of my
also lost
friends,
them, there
and
are no contacts.
if I also them, the thing is, I have built a backup of backups at this point of time. So I eventually sell some of my backups. The thing is, in my initial days when I started making business, I was spending money as fast as I was making money. So there was no savings. But later on, I realized in my life that royalty overpowers everything. So if you are a person who have money in your pocket, then you are a rich person. If you have royalty in your pocket, you are a wealthy person.
Yes.
And royalty means stocks. Royalty means you are lending to other people. You are not borrowing, but lending to other people. Okay. And royalty also comes with, in very simple terms, when you make your money work for yourself, eventually it will start with a very little return. But if that money is giving you returns, you will stop worrying about everything. Then you will just focus on what you actually want to do. And that is what I am more focused on these days. I am not building money, I'm building royalty.
Interesting. So, would you like to leave some investment tips?
Do your
Mhm.
own research. It's don't go for mutual funds, don't go for anything. Learn the basics, lose money. Losing money is very important in order to learn that how money actually works. Once you learn how money works, you will stop worrying. Your tolerance capacity will increase. So for me, it's not, it's like the question is very simple. You are a person who can worry about 100, 200 or 50 rupees, because I have seen people, they even argue about 20 rupees. Or you can be a person who can take out like 5,000 rupees out of your pocket and burn it down in front of people just to make a point. Okay. You are not spending, you are just burning cash just to make a point, literally with a lighter. So there are these two types of people stays in, like they are in the same world living. And I don't think I need to tell that which one is more successful in life. So try to become the person you want. You choose between.
Awesome. Now, Harsh is leaving a question for you. So, which option you are choosing? Tell us in the comments, and let's get back to the show. So, to summarize it, if you want to achieve real wealth, then you have to get royalties. And to do that, you have to do your own research. And you don't You should not go with mutual funds, and you should do your own research in order to generate enough cash flow that you do not have to care any more about the cash flow. So you can only focus about building your own. Let's say your current lifestyle costs you 500 to $1,000. So do a kind of investment that will keep generating 500 to $1,000 in cash flow every single month without you doing anything. Just your money is working for you. And then you can only focus on building your own thing because your cash is focusing on building cash flow for you. Amazing.
Exactly.
We are reaching to the end of this podcast show, and this is not our last podcast with Harsh Kumar. We are going to do more podcasts. So this is just the beginning of this show. We are going to do 100,000 of episodes. That's our vision with Prestige Founders Show, with business owners and founders sharing their journey to the end. And from that, I believe you can learn a lot of lessons. If you like it, you can share it with other people who can get a lot of value out from it. Coming to the last question with you, where can people find you, and what type of people should reach out to you directly?
Okay, so if you are a person who likes to discuss ideas which are actually impossible to achieve, not like creating a portfolio website, but something like creating a acoustic algorithm to detect your heartbeat, or something which can be challenging, you can definitely reach out to me, because eventually with time I developed a preference. I don't take general projects. I have a taste when it comes to selecting those projects. So you can come to me. My team can definitely help you. If you're a person who is interested in tech, you can come to me. And if you are interested in AI, you can come to us at Incupie. And our handles are same, which is at the rate Incupie everywhere. And that's pretty much it. Like, the best way to reach out to me is X, my X profile. People can either message on X Incupie's account or my account, which is the Harshon. And by the way, that's the username I use, the Harshon everywhere.
Awesome. That was an amazing, short, cute session with you. I would like to ask from you. It was my first episode, like first podcast show, and I was dreaming to start podcast for very long, like over like 2 years. Now I have already started it. So how was your experience? And if you like to give some feedbacks or anything.
It was a good experience. I'm actually excited to meet you in person someday, and then we can actually record another podcast. Maybe at that time I will have much more to share than I have right now. And overall, like the overall experience was good. The questions were very lightweight, not compared to the other podcast shows. And I am actually excited to see your journey and how you're gonna
Thanks
evolve.
much. Would you like to recommend any of your friends who are building some to come to our show?
I know, I can recommend my brother, Amritanshu Singh, and sorry, Amritanshu Kumar. Actually, some I don't know why I call him Singh
All right.
all the time. Maybe in my subconscious mind, I see him as a lion. Okay, he is founder of Track Nerd, and they are doing some very good stuff in automotive sector. And if you like, you can definitely, like, I would like to recommend him to come to your
Thank
show.
you very much. It's a very pleasure to have you here, and thanks for the recommendation as well. And next time our podcast will be offline, like me and you in front of each other, and we will record a rock and roll podcast again. All right. See you in the next one. Cheers.